when Mary asked me to speak on my friendship with Jane, her limit of 3 minutes made it sound doable. In retrospect, I know that it would have been a lot easier to have been asked to speak for 20 minutes. Several of you here, including my husband, have known Jane most of your adult lives or longer, but I consider Jane my finest retirement gift. We discovered we had interests in common sitting next to each other at a fundraising dinner for the North Shore Peace Initiative, perhaps 10 years ago, invited by the same person from First United Methodist Church. A very special friendship was born. As you have heard, or perhaps not yet, Jane has sung in the First Church Choir forever, so I have not known her in earlier years. But we were at similar stages in our spiritual lives. We found that we were reading the same books and attracted to the same public lectures, gradually finding several other like-minded women, some of whom are here. Ron Miller from Common Ground was beginning to talk about his work in progress on the Gospel of Thomas. The next thing we knew, 5 of us women were sitting in the living room of Jane's cottage, laughing together as we attempted to read Thomas without expert commentary. Admitting one's ignorance among friends creates strong bonds. By this time, I had roped Jane into serving on a church committee that was charged with rejuvenating Sunday morning adult education. We came up with categories, or tracks, for classes such as church and culture, Christian family life, foundational studies, and spiritual development. Jane was positively heroic in my mind when she agreed to chair that one. Through countless meetings with creative, well-meaning people with very different approaches to the subject, she brought the series together beautifully. And in addition, a prayer group resulted that has continued to meet for well past the average lifespan for such groups. And what can I say about Jane's work for the First Church rummage sale? The sale would be almost impossible without her many hours of work, whether sorting donations, fighting her computer to produce worker schedules, or wrestling king-sized bedspreads and 124-inch tablecloths onto hangers in the linens department. As a member of DV chapter of the Women's Philanthropical Educational Organization known as PEO, Jane was initiated in 2010, and the very next year was asked to serve as chaplain. Her knowledge of the college admission process was quickly recognized as a valuable skill, and she has been informally tasked with developing our chapter's relations with Cottey College, a women's college in Missouri supported by PEO. This summer, if you shopped on a certain hot summer Saturday at the incredible nursery on Clark Street in Chicago named Gethsemane Gardens, you may have heard Jane's voice calling, "Cold water, support women's scholarships," collecting money for Cottey and other PEO fellowships. She didn't just volunteer to man the booth, but she also constructed our sturdy poster board when she saw how the wind dealt with flimsier flyers. That's just the way she is, seeing a need and taking care of it. I might add, she's impressively comfortable with tools. Probably my most peaceful experiences with Jane have been our walks. At first, early mornings on the periphery path at the Botanic Garden offered us time to share our readings while being immersed in the beauty of flowers and clouds, or to prove our stamina on really cold, snowy days. But then came the binoculars. Jane decided I needed to care more for birds. A finch feeder and bird seed appeared, and I was introduced to Jane's incredible store of knowledge and her fascinating notebook recording years of dates of spring sightings of various species' seasonal return to Winnetka, with their remarkably consistent dates. even with the addition, though, of Evelyn Bond's eyes to the weekly gardening walk. We can't match Jane's bird's eye. Evelyn and I have no trouble spotting swans. But Jane is determined that we see the warblers. The morning walks at her cottage are part of her ritual, and guests are encouraged to partake. My unexpected sighting of a blue-gray gnatcatcher is quite a special memory. At our own cottage in Michigan, where I walk regularly around a little lake, I see sparrows, cardinals, robins, mourning doves, and an occasional blue jay. Jane, on the other hand, with maybe 2 walks, made a list of more than 20 birds. That list still hangs in our kitchen as an inspiration. And I must at least mention the very special walks of the long aisles at St. John's the Divine Cathedral when our trips coincided in New York City, so we could monitor the stages of its long renovation following a fire in 2001. Finally, getting older, not old, means change, not just from motorboats to pontoons, but also physical ailments that slow us down and losses that challenge our certainties. You, Jane, have kept on walking, learning, seeking, and singing, and you inspire us all. In closing, I would like to quote from a card that you gave me in 2008, supposedly from the Pioneer Girls Leader's Handbook. A friend hears the song in my heart and sings it to me when my memory fails. You have done this for me again and again, and I thank you. Happy 81st year.